5 years ago, a podcast started to explore the world of 80s glam metal. Epic artists were interviewed and stories behind the music were shared. Lists were compiled and discussed, and the audience was exposed to killer rare metal. That podcast is the 80's Glam Metalcast, and it all comes to an end now.
Welcome to the 80's Glam Metalcast. I am your host, Metal Mike. This podcast is the audio extension of my Twitter page, at 80's Glam Metal 1. In this premiere episode, we talk to a glam metal legend, a founding Tiger Tails member, guitarist Jay Pepper. We chat about what's going on with Tiger Tails in 2020 and some important moments in Jay's career. He also gives us his thoughts on U.S. glam bands like Motley Crue and Poison. This is a really great story of doing it for the love of the music and not the money. And it's told by a genuine, down-to-earth guy. Well, that was how it started, and this is how it's ending, man. The last episode, favorite podcast moments, plus our 2025 wish list. Got a whole bunch of special guests, and the first guest is Hair Metal Guru. Guru, what's up, brother?
Hey, man. I'm doing great, and it is an honor to be invited back on for the last episode. It's kind of bittersweet because I'm sad to see it end. But like I said before, I'm hoping all your fans flock to my channel, so I'll pick up all your stragglers. But anyway, truly, I appreciate you having me on for this one.
Dude, I'll be going over to your channel because I'll probably itching to be podcasting here in a few weeks, and then I'll get that call, and I'll be over on your channel probably.
Absolutely. Let's book it, man.
Well, you were on quite a few episodes, man. Here's the ones that I can remember. Motley versus Kiss, that was a fun one. We got the hair metal products. That was a gas, right?
Yes.
Should have been a single. That was just the last episode, 199. And I think the first one was underappreciated hair metal albums. So that's exactly right. And I was looking through because I was trying to remember what the first one was. And it was top 15 underappreciated hair metal albums. And that was awesome. I mean, that was my first time, and that was at the beginning of my channel. I had just kind of started my channel because I went and watched this, and you introduced me as Anthony from the Hair Metal Haven. Well, if you remember, my channel started off as Hair Metal Haven. Yep. So anyway, so that was a while back, and that was really an awesome moment for me because, like I said, your channel was what inspired my channel. So to be invited on and do one was really special. Cool. So would that be your favorite moment, that one, or is there any other ones that come to mind? Or well, so that would be my favorite moment, and I remember, and you maybe not remember this, but I remember at the end of the year on X, you were sharing like highlights of the year from the Glam Metalcast, and in your highlights you said, my highest watched episode was that episode with me, and I was like, oh, yeah, like just talk about a feather under your cap. I'm like, oh, I just wanted to be able to do cool things with music, so I was really proud of that. Nice. And so that is definitely my number one. The funnest one, I think, was the hair metal products. I still remember the winger. She's only 17 handcuffs that I suggested. So that was a great time. That was fun. And I wanted to find a favorite that I wasn't on. So I remember the first episode that I really sat and listened to before I was on anything, and that was the top albums of 1992. Ooh. That was episode 138, and Ryan was on that one. And so I remember picking that because I was just flipping through going, okay, I'm going to start watching some of this stuff. Nice. And I was like, 1992 is one of my favorite years, Wild Side, Kiss, Revenge. And so I listened to that one. So that's probably my favorite one that I wasn't on. And then I want to throw a special shout out to Heavy Metal Rambo. He's a heavy metal I've loved all the stuff that you put out with the Metalcast band, but hearing that song, and you know how when you have buddies and they're like, hey, I'm writing music, you should check it out, and sometimes you're like, oh yeah, that's great, okay, don't call me, I'll call you, because it sucks.
But when I first heard that, I was like, holy shit. And I'm not just saying that because like I legitimately listen to that song all the time. I put it on like workout playlists.
Nice.
And so that was the first time I was like, wow, like you really have a talent for writing music and for bringing us back to that special time when hair metal was huge. And so that is my other, besides the podcast and the one I was on, the first time I heard that song on your channel, I was like, wow, this guy really is talented. So,
dude, well, my head is getting bigger as we speak, man. I really appreciate you saying that. And one thing that really, I like that you brought up 92, because when I talked with Ryan for this final episode, I think I said one of the favorite podcasts that him and I did was 1993. Because I think the misconception, and you and I have talked about this before too, is that there just wasn't a lot of great hair metal, after 1989 or something like that,
Right.
But really, 92, like you said, Kiss Revenge and Wild Side, and even like Fear of the Dark, Iron Maiden. But yeah, there's just so many cool albums in the 90s that people forget about.
And on my channel, I've noticed that like when I do episodes that focus on the years after, after hair metal was on top, the 92, 93, 94, like those episodes get a lot of views. I don't know if it's people just like, maybe they quit listening to hair metal, in 91 when grunge happened. And now when they go back, they're like, shoot, I wonder what I missed. It might be that, but it seems like, man, people really want to know what happened with these hair metal bands when the glory years stopped.
Yeah, exactly. Well, one thing that I've been asking everybody is like, what's on their wish list for 2025? Because I won't be around doing the podcast in 2025 or at the end of this year. It'll be done here. This is the final episode. So I've just been asking everybody, what's on their wish list for 2025? What's on yours?
Well, so I decided to keep it mainly music related. So since this is what we do, but number one, one great thing that just happened is my channel just went over 3,000 subscribers.
Nice.
Which, my first episode was in July of 2023. So I've got about 110 episodes. And I remember when I first started, I thought, maybe I could get 200-300 subscribers that'll like listening to this stuff. That would be cool. And to hit 3,000 was phenomenal. So one of my wishes is just that the channel keep growing and that, I can keep coming up with new ways to entertain the people that watch. And I really do hope that through the channel and through X and through meeting people that I can just, expand my opportunities in music, whether it's meeting other people or maybe getting to interview, more and bigger, people involved in music and hair metal. So that's one thing that I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for more groupies. I haven't had many groupies yet. And, I keep thinking like maybe there's got to be some chicks out there who just are dying to go back to the hair metal. And they're like, well, that guy doesn't have any fucking hair, but he does have a YouTube channel. So, he's about as close as we're going to get to Motley Crue these days. So that's a wish. I'm just kidding about that one. And my other wish when it comes to music is I really feel like, nowadays where we don't buy physical media, everything's online, we don't really have physical products, but I feel like people are clamoring for that time.
Yeah.
Dancing with the Stars just did a hair metal episode. I sell, I think I've said before, I have like a little side business where I sell like vintage old framed music memorabilia, and people are starting to like really feel nostalgia for that time, and so you're seeing it on TV, you're hearing it online, and so I hope that keeps happening. I'd love to see this genre of music have a rebirth, which has maybe happened at certain times over the years, but I feel like rock and roll and that specifically that style of music is coming back into the mainstream, and I feel like if that happens, it'll be great for the music and it'll be great for people like you and me, who do this kind of, and I know you're kind of retiring, but you're still on X, you're still going to be involved with it.
Sure.
So I feel like that's going to, just benefit us. And not that I just want the benefit, but I love the music.
Right,
I mean, I do this because I live for music. I love the style of music. And so I want other people to know about this thing that we love so much.
Those are good ones. I'll give you one of mine, one that I'm really hoping for. I don't know if it'll happen. It probably won't happen, but sometimes your wish list can be unrealistic, right? But I'm looking for Britney Fox to put out some new music. Whether they dig up Dizzy Dean, whether they con Tommy Paris to do another album with him, or find a new singer. Maybe there's a guy out there that has that screech that Dizzy Dean had when he was, in his 20s. Find somebody new. But I think those guys, they're cool guys, man. They all were on the podcast. Michael Kelly Smith, Johnny D, Billy Childs, and I think they got a little bit more in the tank, man. I'd love to see them do something. So that's my hope, man, that Britney Fox does something in 2025. So.
Well, I've done a couple of videos on Britney Fox, and I just feel like they're a band that kind of got forgotten. Man, I love their first 3 albums. And I'll say this, I saw them in I think it was around 2008 at a very small club. And there was about 100 people there. It wasn't like a bad crowd for the size of this club. But I got to talk, they came out and we chatted with people afterwards. And I remember Billy Childs, because I had all my CD covers for him to autograph. And I even had if you've heard of the Springhead Motor Shark album.
I have, yes.
And he's like, holy shit, Springhead Motor Shark. And I go, yeah. And he's like, and I said, well, I'm hoping that you'll add to this with another album eventually. And he goes, we will, and it'll be much better than this one. You can kind of tell you didn't think much of Springhead.
Yeah.
But he seemed to be like, yes, and now this is a long time ago, so it obviously hasn't happened. But I would love to see, and that would be another wish of mine for some of these guys. Poison. Come on, it's been forever.
Yes.
Give it, get back and give it one more good, honest shot, and not the Hollyweird shot, because that was a shit show. Get a real producer, put some time and effort into it, and say, okay, we're going to give you one more shot. Maybe it won't sell, but you went out and gave it your best.
Yeah, I would like to see Poison do a full-fledged rock, hair metal album. Yep.
Absolutely. And maybe they could ask you to help write songs, because you fucking know how to do it. I don't know why some of these bands can't figure out how to bring back the magic of the 80s.
Well, I appreciate that. That would be an honor, but I don't see that happening.
Right. Yeah, probably not.
All right, brother. Well, hey, man, so glad you were on here for the last one. I know that you and I will be texting and talking on X and all that, and I encourage everybody to go check out your channel, and I'm sure I'll be over there here shortly. So,
absolutely, you're invited on for any episode, and I just want to thank you again for being a mentor, for all the advice and guidance. You've helped me with promotion, with how to make my stuff better. And I really, truly appreciate it. I'm sad to see you go, but again, you're invited on my channel anyway, or anytime, and it's just an honor to be on this last episode, man.
Yeah, man, my pleasure helping you out, and that's what it's all about. We want to just see this thing grow and get bigger and continue to thrive. So, all right, brother.
All right, take care, man.
Have a good night. Well, Greg Renoff, welcome back to the podcast, man. How are you?
I'm great. Pleasure to speak to you as always, Mike.
Yeah, well, if people remember, we had you on episode 30. That was like 4 years ago. It was when you had your Ted Templeton book coming out. It just came out. What's been going on since then, man? You got anything in the hopper? What's going on?
Yeah, I did an interview last year with Van Halen's engineer, Don Landee, which was great to have him on the record about some of the stuff that he did with the band on the first 6 records, and of course to do with Sammy. And otherwise, just as we just said, staying in my lane.
It's not a bad thing to be doing. When it comes to the podcast, I don't know if you've ever checked out a lot of the other episodes, or even the episode you were on. Any favorite moments from 80's Glam Metalcast?
the one episode that I always think about is that you guys did the deep dive back onto the Motley Crue '94 record, and that album has always been kind of near and dear to my heart. I sort of really gotten into Crue with Decade of Decadence, and really kind of the peak of my fandom for Crue. And when that album came out, I thought, wow, man, they're gonna get to be just a monster level after Feel Good and then this, and then they did the thing with Karabi, and I really liked the record, but you could just see that it was never gonna translate to a lot of people just from the tours. I remember, I don't remember where I was going to see them, but I was looking to get tickets and the show got canceled, or they shortened the tour. So that was a big thing for me.
Yeah, that was a fun episode, and it had A-Fish on it. God rest his soul. He's not with us anymore, but he was a big fan of Motley '94. And it's funny, I did see that tour. Luckily, I was able to catch it in Weedsport, New York. King's X opened along with Typo Negative, and it was a really great show. It was cool to hear Karabi do the Vince songs along with the new stuff. But, yeah, man, that just was bad timing, and it just wasn't meant to last. And as we all know, Vince came back, and the rest is history.
Right, yeah. And the Generation, let me be on the record here for this segment, the Generation Swine has not aged well.
No, it was definitely trying real hard to be with the times. I enjoy it because I feel like Vince was back, and it was just Crue being Crue in the '90s. But I agree with you. It doesn't have a lot of classic Crue anywhere to be found on it. They're definitely trying to be other people, not themselves.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned A Fish. I mean, he was a great dude. I never met him in person, but a lot of messages back and forth on Twitter, and always enjoyed it. Passion for music, and that's a big loss. He was a good guy.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the podcast isn't going to make it to 2025. I'm ending the podcast, but what I've been asking everybody is what's on their wish list for 25? Greg, what do you want to see in the world of rock and metal happen in 2025?
2025. What I want musically, I'd love to see an archival release from Van Halen, and what I mean by that is one that's new material. I mean, not just an album with 2 bonus tracks. I mean, an Eddie Van Halen instrumental release from stuff from 5150, or a live show we've never heard before from the vaults, or other types of outtakes that would be new and fresh. I mean, there's so much music on the walls up there at 5150. You look at the pictures, it just is mind-boggling. So that would be for me. That's what I would love. I hope Alex will put something out and follow his book.
Yeah, a lot of people think that might happen since the book came out, that there might be some music. That would be awesome, man. One that's on my list is, I'm a big Yngwie Malmsteen guy. And I haven't been super happy with the way he has been conducting his band. He sings now on the albums, and I don't think he has the level of musicianship that plays with him that he used to have back in the 80s. So I'm looking for Yngwie to get a proper singer, bring back somebody like Jeff Scott Soto or Joe Lynn Turner, and do a proper album that's kind of a throwback to his 80s stuff. That's what I want to see in 2025.
Great call. I mean, Jeff sounds great as ever. Such a good guy, and that for me that sparked my love of Yngwie. Like everybody else who heard that first Rising Force album and heard those songs with Jeff, and to me, that's never really. I mean, Yngwie's had a lot of great singers. I don't want to throw shade at anybody, but Jeff was always the guy for me because he was the first one.
Yeah, Jeff was great, and I think that whole band had a great chemistry and great energy. So that marching out lineup, that would be superb.
100%. And I think do 10 shows, do 12 shows, and kind of pay tribute to that era. Everyone can move on and do their own thing again, but that would be fun for 2025.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, that's great, man. I'm so glad that you got to be part of this final episode, and I'm sure we'll still be connected on Twitter, chatting and sharing stuff with each other, but I appreciate you coming on, Greg.
Hey, my pleasure. Anytime.
All right, well, Bob, welcome back to the show, man. How have you been?
I'm great, Mike. Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure being on the 80's Glam Metalcast.
Yeah, you were on a couple cool episodes. You were on the Kiss What Ifs, and then the classic folklore. That's what I'm getting out of it. I can't speak anymore. But those were great episodes, and we talked about a lot of cool things. You brought up a lot. I know they were watched very well, a lot of views. So yeah, any moments from the podcast, whether it be interviews or episodes that you were on? What are some of your favorite moments from the podcast?
I will say probably the first one, episode 50. I went into that blindly. I had no idea what to expect, but again, you took care of me. But it was interesting being on something and was on there with Rich and getting to hear him talk and connect the voice to the guy, and I enjoyed 50, probably the first one. I really that was really probably my favorite. Now I'll be honest with you. After that, I've listened to a lot of my segments here and there because sometimes I just want to hear myself speak. But I've listened to the show a lot, and I would say, some of my favorites, some of my standouts. I really liked when you had Stephen Piercy on. I thought that was a really good interview.
That was good.
But I will say this, one that I listened to that I couldn't wait until you actually put it up on YouTube was the one with A-Fish or Andy or whatever, the Motley 94, because I had never heard this guy talk.
Right.
We both interacted with him a lot on Twitter. And anytime something comes up with Motley 94, he was the first one to chime in.
He was.
And very, very passionate about it. And so when I finally sat down and listened to that, I couldn't believe what I was like. This is what he sounds like. This is him, huh?
This is A-Fish.
This is A-Fish. So I was like, this is pretty cool, and it was a good episode.
Yeah.
I mean, I always liked your. Plus, I don't know if they're considered part of the podcast, but I always thought the beatdowns were great too.
Oh yes, that's all.
Those were really good.
Those were fun. It's fun when people bring up different things because you kind of forget about them. Because this is my 200th episode. It's like there's been so much material that's been put out.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad you brought up A-Fish. Poor A-Fish. He passed away. I want to say it was last year, and or maybe it was earlier this year. I can't exactly remember now when I think about it. But he's definitely left us. But every once in a while, I'll see either the podcast that we did, or I'll see one of his old tweets or something like that, and I always think fondly of him. And I had him on a couple times. He was great, and especially Badlands and Motley 94. Those were like his things. And if anybody said anything to the contrary, he was in there ready with the comments. So great.
Yeah, he was right on you. He was right on you. Yeah, absolutely.
And the one episode that you were on, it was fun. I kind of put you in with we had Wes Beach, who toured with Kiss on the Creatures tour. He kind of brought in some of his insight. Then Michael Bell was on, who talked about
that was great.
With Peter Criss, why he thought Peter's voice was replaced. He just didn't think that he had the chops as an actor, so they got rid of his voice or whatever. So just cool insight. And these are all things maybe while you're doing it, you don't think much of it. But then when you're kind of getting to the end of the road and you think back and you're like, wow, I actually did a lot of cool stuff, talked to a lot of cool people, found out stuff that I never knew. It was news to me, a lot of these things that people shared with me. So, it's been a great run for sure.
Absolutely. And, and just like the episode that we did with Wes, with the Creatures and the Phantom and all that, one thing I'll say, again, and the way the show is put together, it's just a credit to you and how talented you are. But when you see the episode shared to certain Kiss pages that I'll look at once in a while, and seeing some of these people that run the Kiss pages, like more, like in particular Robert Jackson, who runs the God of Thunder page, and he really enjoyed that episode with Wes and Michael Bell. And he said, I remember he shared. He goes, this is a fun listen. He goes, you guys really want to hear something fun? This is a fun listen, and that really makes you feel good because it was just basically guys bullshitting about Kiss,
Right. Exactly. And Kiss
so,
Asylum shared some stuff, and I was like, man, maybe to some people that doesn't mean much, but to me, I thought it was amazing because I just remember back in the 90s, that's where I got all my Kiss information when the internet first came out. Kiss Asylum was a big deal for me, so.
That was the site, man. Back in the day, man. That was the site. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. And and you bring a point that I was going to mention during somebody's talk that we had. But indirectly, I became a contributor to Blabbermouth, Sleaze Rocks,
you sure did,
Brave
man.
Words, and that was something I never saw coming. It was I just thought I'm just going to do a podcast, going to interview a couple rockers, and still do the Twitter thing. But to see that it got as big as it did, and it got distributed all over the world and stuff, and hey,
that's cool.
It's fun. It was fun.
Very cool. And they all ran with that Kiss cartoon from '79, didn't they?
Right, man. That was all you. People, they ate that shit right up. They loved it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I tell you what, I always got a kick out of when I would see like Brave Words or Blabbermouth share something, then I click on it, and basically I knew exactly where it came from, and I'm like, well, there you go, there you have it. I said, wow, Mike's big time now. I have to make an appointment just to talk to the guy now.
No, man, that's awesome, and I'm so glad that, like you said, you shared those things, and those were eye opening to a lot of people. They didn't know that stuff, so it's all good.
Yeah. Isn't that great?
Well, 2025 is coming, Bob, and what are some things that you're hoping that will happen? Whether it be in the Kiss world, the metal world, what are you looking for 25?
I'll be honest with you. Right now, I would like to see concerts become maybe a little bit more realistic as far as money-wise. I mean, everything is in the stratosphere right now as far as ticket prices. And it's almost the fun has been sucked out of the whole concert experience, at least for me.
Yeah.
I'd like to see, not cheaper concerts, but just, I mean, you can't even take your kid to one of these nowadays without dropping, the mortgage payment or whatnot. And, I would like to see that. I'd like to see, I would like to see, cheaper concert tickets. That'd be great. Wouldn't mind seeing more legacy bands put out new music.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think a lot of them still have a lot left to say. The record sales might not reflect that, but for me, I think it's important, and I still like to listen to a band or support a band that wants to be creative and put out new things. And I would think, for me, because I'm still such a huge Kiss nerd, I know Pop House is going to do some amazing things with the Kiss brand. So, and I'm really looking forward to that. I know I can't have it all, and I don't want it all, but I'm just kind of excited for the future. I know there's no touring, and I'll say that again. There is no touring coming your way from Kiss. But, I mean, just what they have planned, I think is going to be pretty exciting. So, sky's the limit. So we'll see. But yeah, I'd love to see ticket prices come down a little bit more for concerts. It's just insane right now what's going on. I can't even. I just can't.
It's insane. No, it's funny you say that because we were thinking about going to see a tribute show. It was going to be a Foreigner mixed with Journey tribute, right? Foreigner Journey. So we call, and there's only 2 tickets left. $100 a piece. $100 to go see a tribute. And I'm like, I don't know about that.
And it's funny. It's funny you say that because we have a club that just opened up about 5 minutes from my house, and their big thing is tribute bands right now. And they sell the place out with like these. They got a Van Halen tribute that has been through town a couple of times. A Metallica tribute band, the Four Horsemen. This will be their 3rd time coming that they sell out every time. But again, it's a little bit more affordable. But then you look at some of it. Like I wanted to go see this Bee Gees tribute band. I saw their video, and I said, "Well, this looks pretty cool." I didn't know the tickets were almost $100 a piece.
That's nuts.
That's the real Bee Gees didn't get that back in the 70s. So so yeah, I get it. I guess it's just the bottom line as far as keeping these bands on the road or what they need to stay on the road or whatever. But you're not getting it from me. I'm too much of a I'm too tight with the buck to want to just throw the money away like that.
I'm with you. So here's a couple of my wish list items. I'll run them by you, see if you think they're ever going to happen. All right.
Okay.
I know there's going to be something for Kiss Alive, right? I mean, I'm sure there'll be something, but I'm looking for something for Kiss Asylum. because Kiss Asylum will have an anniversary, and I'm hoping they do something with it. They've done pretty well with Lick It Up and Animalize and all that stuff, but I'd like to see a re-release or a remaster and all some interesting merchandise for Kiss Asylum. Yeah. What do you think?
I think that is probably going to happen, Mike, next year.
Nice. That'll be great. I hope that happens. And then Vinnie Vincent. Been hearing about this Judgment Day Part 1, and I'm hoping to see that come out. I don't know if it's going to be any good. I don't know if it'll ever see the light of day. But we know this is Vinnie Vincent we're talking about, but I'm hoping that comes out next year.
That'd be great. You know, you and I have held the Vinnie Vincent flag pretty high.
Yep.
And you know, anytime you post anything about Vinnie, you got to get ready for the beating you're about to take. So,
that's right.
But yeah, I'm a Vinnie Vincent fan, man, and I wish him nothing but the best. I really hope he does come out with something great.
Yeah.
You know, long overdue. And yeah, I would be. Yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah, I forgot all about that. But yeah, I would definitely check that out.
Yeah,
I would. Yeah. And I really hope his chops are still there. I really do.
I hope so too. Well,
yeah.
All right, man. Well, hey, I'm so glad you came on for this final episode. It's actually just great just to talk to you. I mean, we should do this some more often, even outside of the podcast. So
anytime, Mike. I got your number.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Bob. Greg, welcome back to the show, brother. How are you?
Good. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing good. It's going to be the final one. You're on the final episode. You made it. I made it.
Wow. Well, I'm still sad that this is your final one. I can't believe it, but I guess you're on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, we're just going to try some different things down the road here. Take a break for sure. But, yeah, so people probably remember you from different episodes. You were on, we did a Manowar tier list of the albums, right? We did Manowar. That was a fun episode.
That was very cool.
You were on the 1988 episode, and just recently you were on the Overlooked Bands, man. You got a favorite moment from either being on or maybe from somebody that I interviewed? What do you think?
I got to tell you, I still laugh at because I listened to the playback still of the Overlooked one because I can't believe I called Sebastian Bach an ass. And I said the guys in Dangerous Toys were ugly MFers.
Hey, you were just letting it flow. That's what it's all about.
That's right. I was in the flow. We were talking. We were having a good time, and I said what was on my mind. I said how I felt. So
yeah. Well, you know what? A lot of people agree with you about the Sebastian Bach thing. So it's not like you're out on a limb by yourself on that one. So
yeah, that's true.
I tell you, man, I went back and I listened to the Manowar episode, and I really enjoyed that one because, like you said, you were the perfect person to have on that episode because you're part of Loincloth Nation. You love Manowar, and I thought that was a fun one because it's hard. Not a lot of people, like you said, we're in a minority here with the Manowar fans, so that was a fun one.
Yeah, I agree with you. Oh, thank you for remembering Loincloth Nation. Wow, that's a blast from the past.
You got to get it going again on Twitter, man. Get it going.
Yeah, I tried it. It's X now is not the same as it was when we first got on, Mike, and we talked to people and we had fun. And even if you disagreed, it was it. It didn't cause World War III, but It is what it is. No, the Manowar was great. And you know what? I still think there's a lot more fans out there. They just don't want to admit it. But anyway, we'll save that for another day.
Well, like I said, the podcast is going to end before 2025, so I won't be able to do a wish list episode. Is there anything that you're looking to happen in the world of metal in 2025?
Mike, I've been pretty removed this year. One of my I don't know if you want New Year's resolutions was that I wasn't going to buy anything new this year. Any band that put out something new, I didn't buy this year.
Okay.
Because I wanted to use that money to donate it to some charities that I felt strongly about.
Nice.
So that's what I did. So all music that came out this year, yes, I downloaded it. I guess you can call that buying, but I don't have any new physical copies that were released this year. So because I have tons of notes of CDs that I will buy come the first of the year, I'm a year behind. So I don't even know what's out there, who's coming out with new stuff. I heard Sabotage is touring. Yes. I think that'll be pretty cool.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to that.
Super excited about that.
I'm definitely hoping in 2025 because I'm a big fan of theirs, but I've never seen them live. I want to go check out Dream Theater now that the band is back together and Portnoy's back in the drum kit. So I'm hoping to get to that. But other than that, Mike, with new releases, I'm in the dark with that because, like I said, I'm a year behind because, I haven't bought anything new or
right.
Which is good, Mike, because it let me go back and reminisce and go back to the stuff we grew up on and, even stuff from 3 or 4 years ago. So it was good. So
nice. Well, here's two that I'm looking forward to. I think this is happening. I want it to happen, but I think there's going to be a new Manowar album in 2025. And if it is happening, I just hope that it's true metal. I want it to be good, and I want it to be true metal. So I really hope that happens. That would be nice.
That would be nice.
This one's a long shot, Greg, but this. I'm hoping this happens. It's probably not going to happen, but sometimes your wish list is meant to be ridiculous. I want Jeff Tate back in Queensryche, man. I just want Jeff Tate back in Queensryche. So,
Mike, that's a tall order. I mean, I saw Queensryche with Jeff back in the heyday. They were awesome.
Yeah, me too.
And I saw them a couple of years ago. Now, again, a couple of years ago, might have been 4 years ago, when Fate's Warning opened up for them. And even though I'm not a big Jeff Latour guy, he nailed it. He was really good with the band, and I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Jeff Tate's doing an Operation Mindcrime 3, supposedly, right?
Yes, I do know that. But I feel like on each side of it, when you listen to the Queensryche's new original music, the missing piece is Jeff's creativity, And I think when you listen to Jeff on his own, you're missing the guys in Queensryche, what they bring to the band. You know what I mean? So, and I think without DeGarmo, I think actually, let's rephrase that. I just want a Queensryche reunion because they're all still alive. So let's get all the original guys back. Because, man, I've been on a huge kick with The Warning, Rage for Order lately, all that stuff. And I just listened to it, and I'm like, this is so good. I know it would be very tough for them to create music that's of that style again. But, I'm hoping they get back together because it's stellar stuff. And that Jeff Tate, DeGarmo combination, that's just awesome.
Oh, yeah. Magic, right?
Magical stuff, man. Right. So that's what's on my list, brother. And I'm glad you brought up Sabotage because that's just super good news that they're doing some stuff. And I know they've announced it's a festival show, but I know they're going to do more than that. They're probably going to do some other stuff. They're not going to just get together for one show. There's no way. So
no, but I'm assuming they want to see the reaction for this one show, how they mesh, and then take it from there. But it's definitely gonna. That's gonna be if they tour. Forget that's gonna be the concert tour of 2025.
I know. I gotta see that. And like they still do Trans-Siberian Orchestra every year, and it's always cool because the Trans-Siberian Orchestra will bust out a Sabotage song every once in a while. Like they'll play Gutter Ballet, they'll play Handful of Rain. They play different songs from Sabotage, which is cool. But I want to see the full Sabotage show. Full set.
Mike, have you ever seen TSO live?
No, I never have.
Go. I want to. Take the misses. If I get a chance, if I still have it, I'll send you video of when I took the kids. Daniel was young, and Chris Cafferty high-fived my son, and I have it on video. It's so cool. And we're going to go again this Christmas because they're playing not too far from us. So they put on a hell of a show. Take the misses, take the kids. You guys would love it. They're awesome live. Yeah, phenomenal.
Definitely
phenomenal.
Gotta go sometime.
Phenomenal.
Well, brother, I appreciate you coming on and sharing some of your wisdom and some of your wish lists, and I'm sure we'll be talking some more on Twitter, brother.
Yep. Mike, before I hang up and you let me go, I just gotta say it was a pleasure getting to know you, doing these podcasts with you. Thank you for having a schlub like me on your show not only once but three times. And it was a pleasure. And anytime you need me, I'm around, brother. So you reach out.
All right, Greg, man, I really appreciate that, and I always had fun chatting with you. You always brought out some of the most rare stuff, especially on that 1988 episode, but it was all good, man. You educated the listeners, and it's all good, man. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah. Thank you for doing what you're doing and keeping metal alive.
Yeah, have a good one. Well, Ryan, welcome back, man, for the last time, the final episode. What do you say?
Heartbroken. Yeah, well, hey, man, it's been great, and if you'll allow me just a second, I wanted to just kind of give you a little tribute before we start here. I just wanted to say how fun of a ride it's been and how much I enjoy it. And you have no idea how stoked I am to have been part of this. I mean, every time we show prep, it's like the most fun book report I've ever been assigned. And, revisiting all this greatness has been a total blast, and I'm going to miss it dearly. And doing a podcast is my total moment of zen, man. Like, I got two little girls who take up most of my time and make up the majority of my day, being this age. But when I get a chance to head out to my truck and open the computer and read off my cheat sheet notes and talk about all the stuff I prepped, it's a great escape. And, I'm going to miss the show prep, the research, the revisit of all these great bands and the discussions. And then the final product is always so cool to hear. Like, I appreciate all the hard work behind the scenes too. That, I get the easy part. We discuss what we're going to talk about. We talk about a topic. I research it. I blab away at you. And then magically, there's a killer finished product. So, with that, we shall continue our music creation and probably still text back and forth every day regarding all things killer music. And, yeah, man, I appreciate it so much.
Cool, man. You probably were. I'm getting choked up. No, you were probably on more than anybody, and we talked about a lot of great stuff. And really, I think it's a great time to maybe go over a couple of some of your favorite moments from the podcast. You and I got a lot, so it's tough to figure out. It's hard to narrow it down to just a few. But what do you got?
Yeah, man. So favorite moments of the podcast, that this is more or less your interviews. I would say a few of them that really stood out, and I went back and I kind of went through them all. Like, I'd listened to them all, but I kind of really pointed out a few that I really enjoyed. Mark Evans, he was great. I really enjoyed his. The guys that were really open and honest and kind really stood out. The one that I really was kind of funny that stood out was Craig Goldie, because he still gave us blue balls, dude. He still hasn't told us.
There's some deal dirt out there that he just will not reveal yet. I don't know what he's waiting for, but that was a cool one. And the funny thing is that I get people all the time, even just recently, that say, "Oh, I just found your podcast," and a lot of them don't even realize that there was interviews with rockers when the podcast started, and then it kind of morphed into a more, doing our lists and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, if anybody's upset, like, "Oh, geez, I'm so upset that the podcast is over with," and you're coming in new, man, just go back. There's a shitload of episodes for you to check out. So I think a lot of people forget or didn't even know to begin with. That's how the podcast started.
Totally, man. Yeah, I really like Steven Shiro because he did that Motley story at the end. That was really cool. Just out of the blue, like, the last 3 minutes of the podcast, he starts in on how he had a tryout for Vince's spot. I was like, what the hell? Like, this is an amazing story.
I know. How did we not know this?
I know. Piercy was really cool, giving, a ton of info, really nice. Ted Poley, it was funny how he steered the conversation directly away from Cockroach. But honestly, probably my favorite, and I think you'll appreciate that it's my favorite, is Ron Taylor. He was so kind and down to earth, and it doesn't hurt that he's one of the top vocalists, he just seemed like such a good guy. So that was some of my favorite moments of the podcast. Some of my favorite episodes that we did.
Yeah.
April 4th, 2021 was my first, and that was the Jeff Tate interview. You gave me a little blurb at the end, and we talked about some stuff, and it was really kind of the beginning. So that was a nice one to talk about. I really loved the Wishlist and the Dream Team episodes. Those were really fun. We built our own Dream Team bands, and that was awesome. And then I loved both ballad episodes because we really got to dig deep. We had 30 different ballads from almost 30 different bands, and that was really cool. But probably some of my favorites were the Metal Discoveries, A to Z, and then the big, happy, catchy number 2. The second episode. So yeah, those are kind of my highlights there.
Yeah, what I've got, I think one of the most viewed ones that we did, actually the two of the most popular with the view count is the top 10 from 1986, which is a great one. And then when we did 87 Revisited, that's got quite a bit of views. So those are what people like the most. Those are the ones that they gravitated to. I really like the conspiracy theories episode where we kind of went in and all this taboo stuff. Is it real? Did it happen? Did it not happen? 1993 was a great one because I think it's one of those misconceptions that there was no good metal in 93, and we found out that there was, and a lot of people who listened to that episode were like, wow, I didn't realize there was so much good metal in 1993. And then, of course, I did the same. The Big Happy commercial hair metal songs, 1 and 2. They're both great, and we're both suckers for those kind of songs. And some people don't like that stuff. You know what I mean? Some people, it's just too corny, or it's too happy and too fun for them. They like the harder metal. But dude, I love that kind of shit. That commercial catchy stuff. I love it.
Great. That 1993 one really stands out as well. I should have mentioned that one because that one covered a bunch of cool shit. And like you were saying, people kind of poo-pooed it at that point. That was it. 93, there was nothing good coming out. Well, we found a lot of good stuff coming out. We can say that about all the years that were off years, from 92 to 2024 when we kind of topped it off. And man, there's good shit coming out all the time. So in those dull years, there was, a lot of gems that were hidden in there.
Obviously, as we went to the later years, we had to crunch and do we couldn't do 1995. We had to do 94 to 97 or something. Let's face it, there was not enough cool shit in 1995 and 96. But if you put it together with some other stuff, you had something there for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Well, we're not going to be able to do our wish list toward the end of the year, so we might as well get it out now. Why don't you hit me? I only got 2. I'm going to share it with different people as I go through this final episode, but whatever, just rattle off what you got for your wish list for 2025, and I'll give you my 2. But what do you got, man? What do you want to see happen in 2025 for metal?
Okay, here's one. I'd like to see Joe Elliott, Angus Young, David Coverdale, Dave Meniketti, and John Bon Jovi all dye their hair back to the original color and stop looking like the Founding Fathers.
The Founding Fathers of metal.
There's a good one. I'd like to see the 80's Glam Metalcast come out of retirement and get a deal with XM Radio and Hair Nation.
Oh, maybe that's what this all is. It's just a ploy.
Yeah, but some actual ones would be... I want to hear the release of the hours and hours of Eddie Van Halen recordings that he had stored up in 5150 Studios, because there is a shit ton. And they got a little momentum with Alex Van Halen's book. And I think it might be time. Talking about tours, I'd love to see a massive package tour with Scorpions, Priest, Winger, Cinderella, and Europe. Very random, but I think it could work.
Wow.
It could work. You got a little bit of everything there. Bo Nasty Demos, the unreleased number 2 album. I don't know if there ever were any, but I'd sure like to hear it if there were.
Definitely. You're probably standing on that hill alone, but I mean, not many people are thinking about Bo Nasty in 2025. But you know what, man? No. It'd be cool to hear. Yeah.
Yeah. And for my last one, I like to see Poison work on a true party rock glam album throughout this year, and the upcoming year, and announce a 40th anniversary tour for 2026 to coincide with a new album release.
Well, so that's official, right? You see that. Awesome. That is happening, right? You saw that?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't? Okay. Well, part of your wish has come true. 2026, they are doing a 40th anniversary tour.
Oh, okay, awesome.
So that part's happening. The new music. So for my 2, one of mine is new Poison music. So I figure that'd be a great time. Just like you, I'd like to hear some music that sounds, similar to their old school style. And I'd like to see that come out before the tour in 2025. And you know me, man, I'm always talking about Mike Viscera. That's something that if you go back through and you listen to episodes, references to Mike Viscera always come up. And I'd like to see him get back together with Loudness, not as Loudness, but maybe as a project, and call that like Soldier of Fortune. They've done a live show for like Loud Park in Japan. I don't know. It was like maybe, I don't even know, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and they called it Soldier of Fortune. So it gave me hope that maybe they could do like a project. Be great for Frontiers, something like that. I mean, that's the home. Oh, yeah. That's the home of metal project. That's what I got, man.
All right, yeah. I mean, hey, while we're on the Frontiers topic, maybe Frontiers should take a look at Heavy Metal Rambo.
If they don't want it by Metalcast, maybe they can give it to somebody else, you know?
That's right, baby. Been a good, fun ride, and I meant every minute of it, man. It's been a real blast.
Cool, man. I've enjoyed it too. Like I said, I appreciate all the hard work you put into it, all the research, and really you exposed a lot of people to some cool music, even stuff that I thought I was the king of, like rare metal, but I think you one up me for sure.
Right on, man. I get a kick out of it, so yeah, it's great.
All right, brother. I appreciate you coming on, and I'm sure we'll be talking outside of the podcast for many years to come.
That's right. Sounds good.
All right, bro. Okay, well, we got my wife here, Lorie C, wanted to be part of the final episode. Welcome to the final episode, Lorie C.
Hi, Mikey.
So, you've been on quite a few different episodes. You were on every live cast that we did. The live casts were pretty fun. We would, get people from YouTube commenting, and we'd have different debates, whether it be, best singles from different years and create a band, all kinds of crazy stuff. And we also did a couple ones when Kiss did their documentary on A&E, and that was a lot of fun. So do you have a favorite moment of the podcast?
I liked all the live ones the best. Yeah, those were my favorites. Yep. Especially the last one we did, because you had all different people on there, and it was just fun to have everybody's opinion. What did we do, like 84?
It was the best singles from 1984 to 1991 or something like that.
Yeah, it was fun to have everybody on, and A-Fish, you gotta remember A-Fish.
Yep, he was on there for a couple of different years, and we had a lot of our Twitter buds on there. It was good times. Well, we all know as this thing is winding down that 2025 is upon us. Do you have a wish list moment for 2025?
I do.
And what would that be?
So my wish list moment, I might get a lot of hate from Kiss fans because they've put everything to rest, but I would like to see for one night Peter and Ace to put all their differences aside with Gene and Paul and do just a finale. They did their farewell with Tommy and Eric. So put all your differences aside. None of us are going to live forever. You always say, if something ever happened to one of the members of Kiss, you'd be devastated. Right. So come on, let's just end this on a good note.
Yeah.
They could do it for one night.
One night without makeup. Maybe
without makeup, I told you.
Acoustic, maybe?
Yeah, well, it could be either.
Yeah. Yeah, because, let's face it, none of us are getting any younger, and, who knows how much time is left. And while they can still do it, Ace still goes out and plays.
Right. It would be huge.
Out there. Yeah.
Huge.
I honestly think what's going to happen, I think you're going to see it happen again, because they did it before, was Gene and Ace will probably tour together again, where like they'll have their individual bands and then maybe get together for a few songs because they're kind of both out there. Paul, I think, is done. Maybe he'll do something with Soul Station, but for singing Kiss music, his voice is just too fried. And Peter is pretty much officially retired, but I think he could probably do something lower scale, like acoustic or something.
Yeah, so it's got to happen. The four of them, one last hurrah, and stream it so everybody gets to enjoy the farewell, and I think it should happen.
Yeah.
Let's go. You guys hear this?
I think that would be cool. Anything else come to mind, or is that's just your big wish? You got big wish.
That's my one big wish.
You got your one big wish, and that's all you're shooting for. Okay, makes total sense. Well, I'm glad to have you on this final episode.
Thanks, Mikey.
You'll have me back. You'll have more free time. I'll have more free time. I won't be doing as much podcasting, so you'll have me. You can put me to work doing other stuff. So.
Yeah. Right.
All right. Fans of the podcast, listeners all over the world, rockers I interviewed, and to all my buds that came onto the show, thanks for the support. I did 5 years and gave it everything I had. Now it's time to take a break and focus on some other things. I'll still be active on Twitter, so visit me there. This one's dedicated to you. So here's one final rock on, and God bless.